Hi, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today I want to talk about why you can never quote for another developer. Alright, so I hope it's not too windy for you here, right? It's been really windy here in England this week. This is the reason why I've been in the office for most of the week, but I thought today I'll give it a go and go outside, so I hope you guys can hear me okay. But it's been cold too. I mean, not like cold like it is on the East Coast, but just, you know, cold. Right? So, earlier this week I got a call from somebody asking for my hourly rate as a developer, right? And I said I don't really do hourly work. I'm not, you know, basically we do project-based work with Overpass, and what we do is we'll, you know, look at the specification, we'll quote for the work, and then you can decide whether or not you're happy with it. So it'll be based on the number of hours it takes and all that kind of stuff. But so I asked him why he did. He said basically he needs a piece of work done, and it's only like a 5-hour project, right? So I said, where did you get the 5 hours? Because this is one of the things that really bothers me. When somebody comes to me and tells me exactly how long something should take, and they're not a developer, then usually I question it. Right, so basically, I guess he went to another developer who was too expensive. The developer said it should be 5 hours of work, and probably the developer who did the application, because I'm sure it's not like a 5-hour app, but somebody gave him a quote of 5 hours, right? And maybe their hourly rate was too high, so maybe he was shopping down or whatever. So whatever. But this brought me to something I wanted. You know, one of the things I noticed over the years is that as a software developer, having been a software developer for a number of years, is that you cannot quote for another developer. Now, when I was in investment banks, I was kind of like senior, so a lot of times I never started a project. In fact, it got really annoying because I never started any projects. I would always just work on existing projects, or I'd come into a project at the end. So like I always used to joke that I was the closer, because I'd come in at the end of a project and just make sure it went live, which sounds really cool. I mean, you just get to come in at the end and be the hero. The developers do all the work, you come at the end. But usually what would happen was I'd go on to projects that were in trouble, like they were, you know, near completion, and there would be all kinds of foundational problems that I have to go in there and just get them live. Like the going back and rewriting the thing wasn't going to work, so I got very good at just going into a project and being able to build on shaky foundations. And I mean shaky foundations. So it got to be very frustrating because, you know, because you'd go in and you know, things were like architecturally done in a certain way by junior developers who are much cheaper to do the bulk of the project, and I was more expensive, so I'd come in and just sort of try to get it working and stuff like that. So that for a lot of time, for like several years, that was my job, right? But one of the things that I found when I was working at some of these places was that they would come to me for quotes for a project. They'd come up with design ideas, they'd come up and we sit down and we'd quote out a project, and I would give them a ballpark estimate. I say, that should take, I think that should probably take 4 to 6 weeks to complete, right? And so that would be like, as an example. And what they were doing is they were taking that quote and they were giving it to junior developers. We had a team in India, we had other, you know, like graduates that were working within the organization, right? And they would give them to these junior developers, and then they would complain to me later saying, Eric, you said it would take 4 to 6 weeks to do this project. These developers have been working on it for 12 weeks. You know, they're having, you know, it's taking them, you know, a lot longer, and either your quote was wrong or their quote was wrong. So basically what they did was they came to me and asked me for a quote, and then they went to them and said, Eric says it should be 4 to 6 weeks. You know, get it done in 4 to 6 weeks. Right? This is the problem and this is one of the things why it's really funny that we quote based on hour and day a lot of the work, because that's really not a very good measurement of how quickly applications and software can be produced. I mean, some people work very, very fast and some people work very, very slow. And it's not necessarily due to skill. Like you can have somebody who works very slow and they're just, because they don't know what they're doing, they're inexperienced, they're kind of learning as they go. You know, they're like where we all were in the beginning, or, you know, where every software developer is in the beginning. So they work slower, it takes them a little bit longer, or they could be really, really good and very methodical. So they put the software together, and that thing is really well, it's air handled everywhere, it's tested, it's got, you know, unit testing and everything like that, and it's like surgical precision done, right? On the other side, you can have developers that are really fast. You can have a developer who is just slapdash, no testing, just put something out there so they'll give a ridiculous quote. Or you can have somebody who's just really good and they've done this type of project so often that they're just a machine. They're just next, right? Everything works, everything's done well, but they're just so experienced that they can do it in their sleep. So this is something that, you know, when somebody comes to me with an existing project, I will usually, or with an existing quote, an existing time frame, I will usually say I will not commit to it. I will go back to it, because there's one thing I found over the years is that you cannot quote for other software developers. Anyway, I hope you guys can hear me okay. There's a lot of traffic around here. So that's it for today. That's it for this week. Hey, we finished our first week of 2018. I'll talk to you guys on Monday.